Assalamu alaikum. Muhammad's Sunday Lectures, brought to you by the Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple Unite. This Sunday's lecture will be brought to you by Brother Minister Haq Muhammad.
Once again, thank you, brothers and sisters, for being with us this afternoon for Muhammad's Sunday Lectures. Before we start our lecture, we always traditionally open up in prayer. So I ask you, whatever God you believe in, whoever you pray to, whatever Most High you subscribe to, we ask you to join us in the Muslim opening prayer. Join me. Surely I have turned myself to thee, O Allah, trying to be upright to he who has originated the heavens and the earth, and I'm not of the polytheists. Surely my prayers, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. No associates has he, and this I am commanded. I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art their king. There is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I do confess my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thou. And guide me unto the best of morals, for none guides unto the best of morals but thou. And turn away from me the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn away the evil and indecent morals but thou. And O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and the followers of Muhammad successful, here in the wilderness of North America, as thou did make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful, for surely thou art praised and magnified. And O Allah, bless Muhammad and the followers of Muhammad here in the wilderness of North America, as thou did bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham, for surely thou art praised and magnified. Ameen. Again, in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, in the name of his divine servant, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, again, we thank you for joining us today, brothers and sisters, for Muhammad's Sunday Lectures. We have a subject here today, and we want you to listen very, very carefully to this subject. It is a subject that I believe we can all get something from. We can all relate to. We can all learn from what we have to say this afternoon or this evening or whenever you are listening to this broadcast. It is on the truth given to us by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, taken from his book that he gave us as a gift in 1974 called Our Savior Has Arrived. He gave to us this book right after the Savior's Day lecture that he gave to us. It was a gift to all the believers and everyone that showed up that day. But it was particularly for the believers. And that was the year that Allah blessed me to sit front rostrum. See, in the Nation of Islam, among the fruit of Islam, one of the most prestigious, the most valuable, and the most important post that you can hold in terms of securing the believers in the Nation of Islam is to hold front rostrum. And I was blessed that year to sit in the front and protect my leader as he was speaking. I can hear him standing above me. And all the FOI, every one of the brothers always wanted to have that opportunity. Some brothers never got a chance to do that. Some had been in the Nation of Islam 10, 15, 25 years, never got that opportunity. And I always wanted it. And in 1974, I got that opportunity. And after the lecture, he gave each and every one of the believers a copy of this book called Our Savior Has Arrived. On the back of the book, it is titled On Truth. And we want to get into that this afternoon or today. Before we do that, brothers and sisters, you know I always, if you've been listening to me, take a few minutes and talk about how to eat to live. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote 2 books, How to Eat to Live Book 1 and How to Eat to Live Book 2. The greatest gift that we have, brothers and sisters, is the gift of life. Not a pair of sneakers, not a luxurious home, not the jewelry that we wear, not the thousands and thousands of dollars that we may have at home or in our bank accounts. The greatest gift is the gift of life. And we are only here on this earth a moment in time. Let me say that again. We are only here in this life from the time that we are born, whatever year or time that was, until we die. We're only here in the measurement of time, a moment in time. You have some insects, you have some animals, you have some species that only live maybe an hour, maybe 5 hours. A bee, the bee that you see that makes honey, once a bee stings you, not long after that bee dies. But to a bee, time is so long because instinctively the bee only functions on instinct. So it doesn't understand or have the capacity to know the measurement of time. When a bee has a connection with the queen bee, if it has an intercourse with the queen, immediately after that intercourse, the bee dies. So we who are conscious must understand we only live a moment in time based on the measurement and the vastness of the universe that we are in. So in that moment of time, whether it's 60 years, 70 years, we have to take care of our bodies. We must eat right. We must drink the things and put into our bodies those things that maintain and preserve our life. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad in his book encourages us to stop eating pork. Stop eating all day long. Your body is like a machine. For instance, a car. If you run that car constantly, you don't put any gas in it, you don't change the oil, you don't get a tune-up, that car at certain time will break down. That car will begin to lose all of its strength and the purpose of its function. Likewise, if you run your body constantly, if you're feeding it all kinds of poisons and toxins, and if you don't cleanse your body, like you change the oil in your car, and you don't change the habits that you do that poisons your body will break down. So eat the best of foods, fruits, vegetables, drink lots of water, because 75% of your body is water. Some of us, I see some of our brothers and sisters with stomachs. You know what that is? That's your excrement. That's your doo-doo that's backed up in your colon, in the walls of your intestines. You gotta fast. If you're overweight, your breathing is not regular. If it's irregular, that means something is happening in your body. Listen to your body. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. Your eyes are the windows to your health. You look in your eyes and you see your eyes are bloodshot. Your eyes that's supposed to be white, the whiteness, if it's red and yellow, something is wrong with your blood. So brothers and sisters, we appeal to you. We only here for a moment in time. Take care of yourself in that moment of time. So we're going to get off that. I know some of y'all don't like that. You say, man, don't be messing with my food. You know I like my chicken wings and my french fries and my hero sandwiches or my hoagies. Yeah. If you eat right, you'll live right and you'll feel better. Okay, let's get into our subject. You've heard this saying before. The truth shall make you free. Okay? The truth shall make you free. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, on the back of his book, Hadith to Live, it is called On the Truth. Now this statement, the truth shall make you free, was uttered by Jesus. And it's to let you know, brothers and sisters, we who are followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we who are members of the Nation of Islam, believe in Jesus. We don't believe that Jesus is God because Jesus never said he was God. You will not find anywhere in the Bible that Jesus said that he was in fact God. The reference that he made is that me and my Father are one. He was talking about in truth, in righteousness, in principle. He is with his Father and his Father is with him. But in nowhere do you find in the Bible Jesus saying that he was in fact God. Okay? But he, in the book of John, in the 8th chapter, in the 32nd verse, Jesus is talking to the Jews. He tells them, if you believe in me, you will know the truth, and that truth shall set you free. That's in the book of John. We believe in the Bible, but we believe in the truth of the Bible. We believe that the Bible has been tampered with and has to be reinterpreted so that mankind would not be snared by the falsehoods that is in the book called the Bible. All right? Now, Jesus is talking to the Jews. Now, listen to me so we can get some understanding and some reasoning. Now, when you're talking about the truth, if there's an argument, if there's a disagreement, or if you go into court, or you going into a meeting and you're trying to figure out how to make a decision, a proper decision, what you need to do and what people basically do is find out what is the truth. Where do we find the truth? In the war of words, the first casualty in the war of words is the truth. You have your side, then you have the other side. But somewhere in the middle, the truth lies. And that's what you're trying to figure out. When you go to court, the judge sits back. He's listening. and the prosecutor and the defense lawyer is trying to figure out and present themselves to the jury, to the judge, and the judge has to listen and find out where the truth is so a decision could be made. That's the basis. So Jesus is talking to the Jews. He said, if you believe in me, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Now, why did he say that? He said that because there was an issue. Someone, if Jesus has mentioned the truth, then somewhere, somehow, someone is lying. There's a lie being told. So Jesus said we have to get to the truth. Okay? This is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us this book in 1974. And on the back of it, he said, on the truth. And there's a list of 13 points about the truth that we will get into. Now, this might take a second lecture or a part 2 in order to cover this whole thing. But I want to try to get through at least 6 of the points on truth. Okay, brothers and sisters, just work with me for a few minutes. What is the truth? When the reporter in 1959, there was a documentary on the Nation of Islam called The Hate That Hate Produced. They were trying to style the Nation of Islam as hate teachers. And a reporter or a journalist by the name of Mike Wallace did a documentary on the Nation of Islam after he found out that all of these people in 1959 went to hear the Honorable Elijah Muhammad at the Uline Arena in Washington, D.C. Okay? So they said, well, who is this man that can attract at least 20,000 people? We don't know nothing about him. So they interviewed him. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad would not talk to Mike Wallace. They allowed a black reporter by the name of Louis Lomax. Louis Lomax wrote a book called When the Word is Given. It was on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they threw Malcolm in there about the Nation of Islam. This is a book that you can get, I don't know, I think it's out of print, but somewhere you can get it. It's called When the Word is Given. And Louis Lomax asked the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, do you teach hate? He said, no, sir. He said, what do you teach? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I teach the truth. He said, I teach truth. Okay? Now, what is truth? According to the dictionary, truth is that which is true according to fact or reality. It is a science of analyzing to get to the matter at hand and the reality of a particular thing, place, or idea. Let me repeat that. If you didn't get it, if you didn't understand it or didn't hear it. Truth is that which is according to fact and reality. Okay? Truth is fact and reality. You can't argue with the truth. You ever heard that term before? You can't argue with the truth. The truth is the truth. Okay? Sometimes we are in a position we deny the truth. So people say, well, you are ignorant. Ignorant don't mean you're stupid. Ignorant doesn't mean that you're dumb. Ignorant means come from the word to ignore the truth when it's right in front of you. You've heard people say that. The truth is right in front of your face and you don't even see it. You're still in denial about it. Okay? Truth is fact or reality. So, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I do not teach hate, I teach truth. Now here's an example to give you a perfect or simple example of truth. People, right up until today, believe the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. For many, many years, people thought the sun rose in the east because if you're looking to the east, you can see, if you get up early enough in the morning, you can see what appears as the sun rising. And then in the evening, you'll see it, what appears to be setting. But in reality, and in fact, the sun doesn't rise in the east and set in the west. It's not a rise. The sun is not coming up. What is happening is the earth is traveling, it's spinning, it's rotating around the sun. 1,037 and 1/3 miles per hour around the sun. Okay? 1,037 and 1/3 miles per hour around the sun. The earth is spinning. So what appears to be rising is not rising. The earth is turning on its axis, and what happens is once it makes that rotation, it comes in the position of the sun. And once it's moving around the sun, then what appears to be a setting is what is happening. It's moving away from the light of the sun. That is fact. That is reality. And that is science. You understand, my brothers and sisters? So if you're in a science class, they're going to teach you that. But for many, many years, the human being, the people who didn't understand the science of life and the science of physics thought the sun rose and set. Now that's an example of truth. Now, listen to me, brothers and sisters. It says the truth shall make you free. Jesus said this to someone, obviously declare something up, because the opposite of truth is a lie. So someone possibly was lying and he wanted to clear that up. So he's saying in order to be free, you must know the truth. If you don't have truth, you're not free. You've heard our people, black people in America, oh, this is a free country. But if you don't have the truth, if the truth is not in you, around you, being presented to you, then you're not a free man. You're not a free woman. You're enslaved. How many times that you know many of our brothers and sisters who've been in prison, who've been in jail, and while they're in prison, they're functioning under a certain system. They're functioning on a certain occupational movement inside the prison. But if you notice, they're disciplined in the prison because they're under the orders of the correction officer. But when they get out of prison, you notice they go right back to doing what they were doing before because they're not free. They were in prison physically, but in their head, in their mind, in their brain, they weren't free. In order to be free, you must know the truth. And that's why Jesus said, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Okay. Before we go any deeper into the aspect of truth, let's kind of break down or get to something in what Jesus said. He said, you will know the truth and it shall. He didn't say you will know the truth and will make you free. He said it shall make you free. Now, what is the word shall? The shall is a auxiliary verb. The word shall, S-H-A-L-L, is a auxiliary verb. What's an auxiliary? It's a supporting word for the verb. You understand what I'm saying? Listen. Auxiliary. You know, they have police officers in New York City. We call them the NYPD. I'm from New York City, born and raised. You have the New York City Police Department, who are the regular police officers who go to a certain amount of training and civil service experiences. But then you have the auxiliary police. They are as supporters of the police officers. They do things that police officers can't do, but they're auxiliary in that they support certain things that the police do. For instance, if the police come, there's a shooting, there's a crime. The police officers will respond to the crime, but then the auxiliary will come in. You'll see them take the yellow tape and tape off the area. They may come in and make sure that the people or the crowd stay away. They're auxiliary. They don't have the kind of authority like the regular police. So the word shall is auxiliary. And this is why Jesus said, it shall make you free, which is future tense. So once you know the truth, but you got to get the truth first, and it shall make you free. What is the deeper definition of the word shall? I want you to stick with me, brothers and sisters, because the subject is the truth shall make you free, which comes from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on the back cover of his book entitled, Our Savior Has Arrived on Truth. Shall, the word shall, according to the dictionary, is used to express what is inevitable or seems to be likely to happen in the future. It's a verb that is not only auxiliary, but it's a future tense word that is talking about something that will happen in the future. So here we are, black people in America. We were never told the truth. We were told that we were inferior. We were told that we were ignorant. We were lazy and shiftless. That our dark skins was a curse. And that our hair was bad. And that we didn't value in terms of society anything that we have given to society. They only told us that we were slaves, and our history only dated back in terms of our existence of doing anything 1619. Beyond that, we were nothing. That's what they told us, but that wasn't all the truth. of the matter. And that was not, in fact, the truth. Shall, the word shall, it is something that would happen in the future. So once the coming of Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, he revealed the truth to his servant and messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he taught us the truth. He didn't teach us hate. You can't teach, in fact, you can't teach hate. You can give a person some information about what's happening, what's going on, and they would make the decision to hate that thing or love it, or to accept it or reject it. So you can't teach hate. That's a misnomer. You can't teach someone hate. You can give them information, and that is up to them if they want to hate that thing. Let's make that clear, brothers and sisters. Okay. Now, we are 4 or 5 days away from the elections, or the election for the new president of the United States of America. It's going to be happening on the 5th of November. Now, what does that have to do with the truth that will make you free? Donald Trump, Kamala Harris are campaigning to see which one of them will be the president of the United States for the next 4 years. Okay? Now, they are telling us that if they are voted in, if they become the president of this country, they shall fix the economy. They shall. That's what they're telling us. That's how they're campaigning. They're telling us that they shall build more houses for people to live in, that they will eliminate homelessness, or what they're calling now unhoused people. Same thing. They are campaigning. They said, if you vote for me, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, we shall lower the taxes. These are all things that they are telling us. Is it the truth? You look back, brothers and sisters. Look back and see what all the presidents before them, all kind of promises, empty promises, that they have made to the American people and to black people in particular. And see if the truth that they so-called told us made us free. What is truth? Let's move a little further. As I said, in this book, Our Savior Has Arrived, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad made many points about the truth. Now, the first point, he said, it is truth that we must come face to face with God in the resurrection. I'm going to repeat that again. It is true that we must come face to face with God in the resurrection. Now, what does that mean? When you come face to face with God, it doesn't necessarily mean that you see him face to face. We believe Allah, God, appeared to us and revealed himself in 1930 in the person of Master W.D. Fard Muhammad. In fact, he used the name W.D. Fard. He told the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that he is commissioned for the resurrection of his people. Now, he is letting you know, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when you come face to face with God, first of all, it letting you know that God has a face. All right? Physically, he has a face. But the greater understanding to that is you come into the knowledge of God. You come into the truth. There's that word truth. You come into the true knowledge of God. Therefore, you are face to face with that truth. And you are in tune with the principles of that truth. And you are in the light of the sun. When you're in darkness, you can't find your way around. See, this is why it says in the Holy Quran, when truth comes, falsehood vanishes, and falsehood is an ever vanishing thing. When truth comes, falsehood vanishes, and when the truth comes, you're in the light of the sun. Okay? That's the greater understanding when you come face to face with God. In fact, one of the last interviews that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had, they asked him, how would the Nation of Islam be after he is gone? He said, you will come face to face with God. That means each and every one of us, would have to stand on our own 2 feet. And we don't have to wait, because we will be in the light of the sun. We will be the children of the light. And we won't have to depend on anything, because we will come face to face with the reality of God, and it will be our responsibility, brothers and sisters, to be responsible for our own destiny. And we don't have to wait on the white man. We don't have to wait on anyone to do anything for us. We will do it for ourselves. That is coming face to face with God. Okay? It's not that means Master Prophet Muhammad going to come and knock on your door and you're going to see his face. That's not what that means. That's number one. We can't go into everything, brothers and sisters. This is why y'all have to study. Whatever we're saying today, you have to go look it up. Check it out. Turn it upside down. Do your own research. You got Google. If we are not telling the truth, then we'll admit when we're wrong. But you have to find out for yourself. We can't spoon feed you everything. We can give you some pointers by which you can go and study on your own. Number 2, he said, it is also true that we must come face to face with the reality of the devil. Now, let's deal with that for a few minutes. Face to face with the reality of the devil. What's today? Yeah. Today is the 1st. Just yesterday, they had what was called Halloween. All of our people were out there. And that doesn't mean, brother, when I was a little child, I participated in that. I used to make mad money. I used to make me so much money, I didn't even want the candy. I used to come home with $50, $60, $70 when I went trick-or-treating. I would go into the bars. I would go into the skin holes. I would go into the pool rooms. I would go everywhere that I could get some money. But they were practicing and out there with the children dressed up for Halloween. That's devil worship. Do you know the origin of Halloween? It's called Hallow Eve or Hallows Eve, which is the eve of when the ghouls and the goblins and the monsters and the ghosts come out. Okay? And it's Satan's birthday, Hallows Eve. It's the eve before the birth of Satan. So what you are practicing is Satanism. and you got your children running up and down the street with all these different costumes on. So, but it's the devil's worship. That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you must come into reality of the devil and who the devil is and what the devil does. They teach in the church. They teach in some other religious orders that the devil is somewhere under the ground, or the devil is some invisible force that's making you do bad things. And if you look into reality and you look at the truth, there's that word again, the truth, you'll see that the devil is within and without. The without devil, and we're going to talk about that for a few minutes, is the man of sin, the white man who enslaved us, brought us here from Africa to America over 465 years ago, and subjugated us. That is the man that is walking around where you are part of a commercial of buying all of these things for a holiday that really worships him. Okay? But all our people don't know the truth of these holidays or so-called holidays. And people said, Happy Halloween, as if that's not a holy day. The devil without, we see him because we have the truth. But what about that devil within? Because once the devil without brainwash you, indoctrinate you, then he puts that into your mind, and that devil becomes implanted. And the devil within will make you do things and hate your brother, hate your sister, commit crimes against the community. Just last night and the night before that, I heard gunshots all throughout my community in a housing project that's a few blocks from me. No, the white man ain't there. He's not doing it. We are doing it to each other. That's the devil within, where we were indoctrinated, and now we're acting like the devil that taught us. This is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, separate yourself from the slave master. You don't live with him anyway. So what does he mean, separate yourself from the slave master? It means get out of the thinking of the slave master, because you already separated from him. You don't live in his house. You don't live in his community. Every city you go into, there's a black community and there's a white community. There's a white suburb and there's a black inner city. So when he said separate yourself from the slave master in his 12-point program, he meant separate your mind from your slave master. We can't get into everything. So he said, number 3, Allah has taught Muhammad that the white race is the devil. And people said, oh, now, you saying all these white people are devils. You mean, Brother Minister Hawk, not one of them are good? Ain't some of them good? All of them are devils? That's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said God revealed to him. Now let's check it out. We just don't say he's the devil. We prove it, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not, and I say this, he didn't call white people devil because of the whiteness of their skin or the color of their skin. He called them a devil because of their behavior, their ways and actions. Because how are you going to call someone a devil because of the whiteness of their skin or the straightness of their hair? When we got some people among us, our people, black people, who are white, bright, and almost look white, some of them. So it's not the skin, it's the nature. The propensity to lean towards evil is in that white man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, even when they try to do good, that their nature is even though they try to do good, their nature still leans towards evil behavior. All praises is due to Allah. Ain't it beautiful when you understand? Now let's prove, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that the white race are devils. And the way you prove it is through history. Because history is always qualified and most attractive to reward all our research, for it develops the springs and motives of human actions and displays the consequences of circumstance that has a powerful effect on the destiny of the human being. Let's look at the history. In 1492, a white man, Christopher Columbus, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the lesson said he was a half original man. He came not to America, he came to, as he was looking for the India, but he got lost in the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. So in 1492, he came to a place called Hispaniola, which now modern times is Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Okay? That's one of the places he came to. He didn't come here. He couldn't discover America because our brothers and sisters, which you call the American Indians, were already here. That is the truth. See, there's the truth again. Praise be to Allah. So he came here, and when he came here, and they just celebrated his coming here in 1492 and celebrating his birth, Christopher Columbus, his name was Cristobal Colombo. That was his real name, not Christopher Columbus. And he subjugated the indigenous people that were here. He stole the gold and precious minerals from them. They killed thousands of them. They raped the women. They gave them all kind of diseases. He was one of the most tyrannical individuals during that period. And they praise him. That is one example of a devil. Okay? Another example is 400 years ago, they went into Africa. They made a deal and they became slave traders in the heart of Africa. And they brought our people, our ancestors here, men, women, and children, and put us in the holds of ships. They took our name, they took our language, they took our culture, they took our God, they took our religion, they took our folkways and mores and all our cultural and beliefs in certain ways of life. And they stripped us to be below the level of an animal and said, you will never be free. They did that 465 years ago. And here we are in America still asking for freedom. That is the behavior of the devil. And if you check the history of all people who have ever been enslaved, who's ever been subjugated, colonized, they have never did to them what they did to us. And they made us perpetual slaves, which means that they didn't want us to ever come out of that condition. Check it out. Check it out. Research it on your own. Just don't take our word for it or my word for it. Study the history. Now, there's another thing that he did. This is the white man. This is the one that Honorable Elijah Muhammad said is the white race are devils. The Chinese had gunpowder for thousands of years, and they used it for celebration, for festivals. The white man gets the gunpowder and he makes dynamite. He makes bombs. He uses it for destructive reasons. The Chinese had it for all of that time and they used it just to celebrate. The white man gets it. He makes all of these instruments of destruction. See, that's that evil, perpetual leaning towards the negative in him. They discovered the atom. The atom is a tiny particle. Almost, you can't even see it with the naked eye. You got to put it under a microscope that goes deep. The atom, and they have the subatomic atom. And the atom is one of the sources and one of the building blocks of life. They got the atom, instead of using it to perpetuate and to enhance life, they made an atom bomb. They split the atom and they made an atom bomb, and they took those atom bombs that they made and dropped it on Japan after Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in Hawaii in 1942. Might be 41 or 42, because my father fought in the United States Army. I believe he was in there in 1944, 45. But anyway, they got the atom, made an atom bomb, and dropped it on the Japanese in Hiroshima and another city called Nagasaki. And that bomb killed hundreds of thousands of people. Just wiped them out. I mean, they have pictures and movies that you can see of it. And you can see the fallout. Just moving, and the people's bodies are burning from what they call the fallout, the after effects. And they are suffering still up until this time. Some of their children are born with 5 and 6 toes. Some of them are born with one eye. Some of them born with half of their face hasn't developed. That's from the radiation, from the after effects. They took an atom of life and made it a bomb and wiped out all of these people. That's the behavior of a devil. Even among their own people, when they were in Europe, they had a 100-year war. They fought for 100 years against each other. The Goths and the Visigoths. The British fought the Vikings. The Vikings fought other European. 100 years of war in Europe. Check it out. And finally, on this particular subject, on the reality that the white race of devils, on February 26 in 1885, imagine February 26, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that Master Fard Muhammad was born in February 26, 1877. Okay? But in February 26, 1885, European leaders, you can check it out, all the major European leaders at that time convened in a conference called the Berlin Conference. Now, what did they do there? In the Berlin Conference, they sat down and they mapped out all the world where they were going to control and dominate. It was the Spanish, the French, the Portuguese, the British, the Germans, and the Belgians. And they looked at the world and they carved it up like a apple pie. And they told the Spanish, you take this part of the world. This is why in Africa and certain parts of Central and South America, they speak Spanish, because the Spanish control that. They made slaves and they colonized those people at that time. They told the French, you take certain parts of Africa. That's why in certain parts of Africa, they speak French. That's right. In Senegal, they speak French. Now, how's an African speaking French when his native tongue was something else before the French came there? They went into Algeria. They went into Mauritania. They went into Morocco. These are North African countries. Okay? The Spanish went into Italy. I mean, not Italy, but the Spanish went into Libya. The word Libya is an Italian word. That's not English. Yes. The Germans went into another part of Africa and other parts of the world. And the Belgians, they were a subdivision of French. And they went into what we know today as Rwanda. Yeah, remember the war that they had in Rwanda? They speak French. This is true. The British went into Ghana and Nigeria. And they carved up the world. And they controlled that all the world through their religion, through their politics, and through force. They killed thousands of people, millions. They said in the slave trade, from the time they took it from Africa, they said over 100 million of us died in the continental slave transition. That's right. They said if you go into the Atlantic Ocean, you'll find thousands of bodies, millions of bodies, skeletons in the bottom of the ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean of our ancestors. Some who were thrown overboard, some who jumped overboard because they didn't want to be slaves. Now, that's just some of the history, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad makes that well known, that these are people are a race of devils. Okay? Now, let's move on. Number 4, he said, it is true that the lost found so-called Negroes are members of the divine family. Allah God created the heavens and the earth. And it is proven that Allah created himself out of the darkness and triple darkness of space and created us as his offspring. Okay? So, as his offspring, if God is divine, he's all wise and omnipotent, then we are his offspring, which makes us connected to him and makes us divine. We are of the family of God. This is why in the Bible said, all ye are God, children of the Most High God. All praise is due to Allah. It doesn't make us arrogant. It shouldn't make you arrogant. It should make you proud that we are of the family of God. Our nature is the nature of righteousness. But it made us unrighteous because we didn't get the truth. So when you don't have the truth of who you are and your connection as being the family of God, then you act other than yourself. Okay? That's just basic. Just basic, brothers and sisters. Just think about your experience here in America. There's a lot of stuff many of us came out of the street. There were things I just didn't want to do when I was in the street. I just thought it was wrong. I remember I must have been maybe about 12 or 13, maybe 14. I was upset. I was dissatisfied with my life. I wasn't working. I wasn't going to school. I was outside stealing and robbing and lying and drinking. My mother was very upset and sad about my condition. And one night I came home I think I was drinking. And on Sunday in my house, my mother always played gospel music. The preachers would preach sermons. And this particular night I was listening, and this preacher came on, and he began to say, if you are upset with your life, if you're not satisfied, if you feel that you're hopeless, and he would go on, and I'm sitting there listening. I'm a young boy. He said, well, put your hand on the radio. If you believe you can be healed by the Spirit of the Lord. And I slowly put my hand on the radio because in my heart I didn't like what I was doing and the life that I was living. I was just a young boy. And I put my hand on the radio. And he prayed. And I think after that I went to sleep. But I got up the next day and went back to my same old stuff. I went back to my same old behavior because it wasn't deep enough. I didn't know the truth. And but I knew I wasn't living the life that I should be living. Okay? So we are of the family of God. Number 5, on the truth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, is it true that the scriptures verify the truth that we must return again to our own? One of the first words that Master Farad Muhammad, for the very few words that he said, besides that he would give us, if we followed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or followed him, he would give us money, good homes, and friendship in all walks of life. But the other 4 or 5 words he said to us, accept your own and be yourself. What is yourself? He said, yourself is a righteous Muslim. He said, the scriptures said we must return to our own name, to our own truth of righteousness, to our own religion, to our own way of life, which is Islam, which represents freedom, justice, and equality. We must return to our own again and come out of the names of the white man and take names that represent God and the righteousness and the truth. There's that word again, the truth of God. Stick with me for a few more minutes, brothers and sisters, because I'm almost getting to the final part of this subject, because there has to be a part 2, okay? Our own is to love each other. And that is something that, brothers and sisters, that we are constantly promoting, and we are constantly encouraging our brothers and sisters. Don't hate your brother and sister. If you have a difference with that brother, if you have a difference with that sister, if you're in conflict, sit down, come to counsel, come to an agreement, and find the truth, and let truth be the governing determination of that which you differ. And once the truth emerges, then you accept the truth and love your brother and sister the way you should love yourself. That is the greatest of all religion. Want for your brother, love your brother and sister the way you want to be loved. And if you stick with that kind of principle, regardless if they come at you and accuse you, you take it. Because our unity, there's a price for it. And our unity is greater than that which we have. That is of difference in that which we may disagree about. Number 6, He said, it is true that before we can be returned to our own, we must have a thorough knowledge of self. What do you mean a thorough knowledge of self? When you heard the word thorough, you think you have to know everything. Of course, you can't know everything. You're only 15 years old. You're 30 years old. You're 40. How could you know everything? How could you have a thorough knowledge of everything? Let me break that down so you can understand what that means. What does the word thorough mean? It means accurate. It means careful. It means complete. It means comprehensive. It means detailed. It means exhaustive. Listen, it means full. It means intensive. It means meticulous. It means painstaking. And it means profound. It means all of those things. That's what the thorough means. It don't mean you know everything. You just have to have the fundamentals, the basics. And once you have the basics in that thoroughness, it allows you to move correctly. And you might go off the track here and there, but you come back to the root of the truth that will make you free. And Allah will bless you to be successful. He said you can't come into your fullness and you cannot come to your own or return to your own unless you have a thorough knowledge of yourself. It has to be comprehensive. It has to be your ability to understand. And that's what we should teach our children and those that are around us. Be comprehensive. Because we love all of our people. And one day I'm going to teach about the awesome power of love, because we get that mixed up. We talk about I love you, or love at first sight. No, you have to understand the character of love. He said, and I say, not that under Elijah Muhammad, because he teaches us this. He taught me. You cannot come to truth, brothers and sisters, and return to our own unless you have a thorough knowledge of yourself. And you have to be humble enough and submissive enough to say, I don't know. Help me understand so I can do better. Make me better today than I was yesterday, and make me better tomorrow than I am today. We make mistakes, we go into error, but we clean it up, and then we go on. I am brother Abdul Haq Muhammad. The word Haq means truth. I was given that name. I believe it's a good name, and I've been trying to live up to it to the best of my ability and trying to make my word bond. In the book that we subscribe to called the Holy Quran, we believe that it is the word of Allah. And in the 69th chapter, okay, the 69th chapter of the Holy Quran is called the Sure Truth. It is called Al-Haqqa. And the prefix of the word Al-Haqqa is Al-Haq. I am not Al-Haq. I am not the definite article, the truth, but I am Brother Haq, trying to manifest and be in the truth of reality. So it says in the first, second, and third verse of the 69th chapter of the Holy Quran, it says, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. The sure truth. And it asks the question. See how the Holy Quran is? It asks questions. What is the sure truth? What is the sure truth? And what would make thee realize what the sure truth is? Okay? It introduces something. It says, it says the sure truth. Then it asks in the second verse, what is sure truth? And what would make you realize what the sure truth is? As I said earlier, this is Allah talking, asking you that question. Because you got to know the truth. And what is the sure truth? How do you know it is the sure truth? Once you analyze, once you research, once you go over in your brain and compare and look at, you're searching for the truth, but you want the sure truth. You don't want a part of the truth. You don't want a segment of the truth. You don't want a percentage of it. You want the sure truth. And that's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad brought to us, was the sure truth. And all the other people that came before him, they gave bits and pieces. But when Master Fard Muhammad sat with him day and night for 3.5 years, he taught him the sure truth. It is the reality of God and what we mean in relationship to God and what we have to do. You are just a servant here in this time for your brothers and sisters. And we have to pull them out of the grave of ignorance and show them the sure truth. Well, you have to understand that. You have to understand where you're at in the time that you're living in. The sure truth is that there is no God but Allah, who came to us, the black man and woman of America, in the divine person of Master W.D. Fard Muhammad. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is indeed the messenger of Allah. And we thank Allah for giving us the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And brothers and sisters, I conclude at this point, because there's more. There's 7 to 13 more points about truth that I will come to you again in the second part to talk about this here. And again, we thank you for listening. We thank you for taking your time. I hope I gave you something of substance, something to feed on, something to research, and something to share with your family and friends. And we of the Nation of Islam, Muhammad United, thank you again. And there are other ministers that will be coming in the other weeks. Minister Wali Muhammad, Minister Daniel Shabazz, and they will bring subjects to you. And listen to them as you listen to me and we're not the only ones on this planet. There are other, you can find truth anywhere. Oh yeah, you just can't find it here. This is the truth we are giving to you from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But truth is relative. You can walk down the street and see something. He said, that's truth. That's peace. I understand that. So we thank you, brothers and sisters. I didn't want to keep you this long. And may Allah bless you and keep you and protect you in this time of judgment and the time of confusion. And don't look for Donald Trump and Kamala Harris to free you. The truth shall make you free. Assalamu alaikum. So again, brothers and sisters, thank you. And there's some information that's going to be given to you, how you can help us continue our ministry. Also, how you can learn more about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, how you can get involved. And so listen to this information, and we encourage you to help us monetary-wise. If there's anything that you can help us donate to us that can help us continue to spread these teachings, please don't hesitate. And so as I came to you and open up in prayer, we will close in prayer. So brothers and sisters, follow me or listen to the closing prayer. In the name of Allah, the Magnificent and Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent and Merciful Master of this day judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and Thee alone do we beseech for aid. Guide us along the right path, along the path of those who Thou hast bestowed favors, but not along the path of those whom Thy wrath is brought down, nor along those who go astray. Say He, Allah is one God. Allah is He who nothing is independent of, but upon who we all depend. He neither begets not, nor is He begotten, or there is none like Him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be praised or worshipped besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is His true servant and messenger. Ameen. Again, brothers and sisters, thank you for being with us this afternoon. Assalamu alaikum.
If you believe what you are taught today on Islam is true, and you would like to learn more, or you are ready to accept and reclaim your own, contact the Lost Foundation of Islam Muhammad's Temple United at 623-312-4352. Again, that's 623-312-4352. We thank you for joining us today, and we ask that you return next Sunday and invite your family and friends.
The Lost and Found Nation of Islam, Muhammad's Temple United, is seeking to unite with all of the believers in temples across the country. If you are a member or a part of a temple, or if you have a temple, contact us and let us unite one nation under one way of life, Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The time is now, black man and woman. Your nation awaits you. Assalamu alaikum.